Welcome back to the Crochet Credits with my friends over at yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to do the Summer Breeze crochet top. This is sized all the way from extra small to 5 extra large. There are 3 different sizes listed within today's pattern. This is a really simple pattern and I think that you're going to enjoy it. And let me break down the pattern and also show you something that is wrong. Maybe you can identify it already within this photo. So here we have the pattern and it's available in extra small all the way to 5 extra large. There are 3 different sizes listed. Anytime a decision is made in this pattern, you will see that there's a color change. So you'll see 4 balls are required for this size, 5 or 7 depending on the size you're making it for. So for example, in this it says chain 148, 160, 172. I know what you're thinking, the designers are not making up their mind. Truth is, this is telling you which size you're making. So you have to commit to the size and then choose the number that best meets the size. This particular project is in multiples of 12. So it's 12 plus 4. That's your multiples. If you want to change sizes to anything, even to kid sizes, you can do that. So what you have here is that in 148 there's 12 multiples of 12, and then the 160 with the next size up there's 13 multiples of 12, and then 172 there is 14 multiples of 12, and each one of them have plus 4 at the end to keep it in balance. This is a really quite an easy pattern. Let me show you exactly what you're looking at for this particular top. So in the top here what we have is 2 rectangular pieces with a little bit of sleeving added to the one side here, and this is just going right up over top of her shoulder and then back down on the other side, and it's fastened right down this way on both sides to provide room for the head to go through it. So these are both identical. Now I know they don't look identical and maybe you recognize that already, that this particular sample has a little imperfection in it. So see how everything is lining up on this side and it's not on this side? This is the way it should look on this side. So what's happened here is somebody's lost their way when they were doing this pattern and one of the rows got out of sequence, and this happens, you know, at the speed of time to create these patterns. So what we're aiming for is to do 2 identical patterns, panels that look like this. We're gonna do the banding and then we're gonna come back and just do your sleeve work and attach. So what I've done is I've done my homework. I've done all my panels, and today I'm gonna be teaching you how to do this repeat pattern. Let me show you my homemade diagram because I know you love them. So here's my homemade diagram. I told you it was in multiples of 12 because I figured it out, and then you add 4 at the end in order to keep it within balance. What you're going to notice is that when we go to start, we start here and we chain ourselves across, and then we go 6 chain from the hook and we double crochet. We chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and then double crochet the next 7 in a row. So the secret between these gapping spaces that you see that I've highlighted in yellow is the number 7. So it's gonna be 7, 7, and as you run into the edge they'll get more narrow as these move over. Once you get back up, we're gonna establish which side that we're growing on. So for example, we're gonna then put a gapping space here and do our 7, and then we're gonna be off by 1 to create this line on its side here. There's 3 of them again, and then 7, and then because we're moving in this direction we go a little bit further on this side. Once we continue up, there's only 1 gap here. We go our 7, and then you'll see that we're going to be over slightly. So the repeat pattern on this one here is rows number 2 through 7. So you're going to repeat that a set number of times in order to get the distance that you need in order to have the width of your panel. So let's talk about that next. So from a distance we're going to be looking at this, and do you see, I can't really see it in person but I can see it definitely on the monitor, that you see that it's going down in the slants just like you see. Everything is matching up and that's what it looks like in the model. So what this is one rectangular panel that's going all the way up, and what we're gonna do is then fold it in half, and then this becomes the part of the sweater, or sorry, of the top. So we're just gonna fold it in half and then we're going to attach right in the middle section here. So we're gonna fold both of them just like you see. So it's really quite easy. Then what you're going to do, so once you create one, the other one is absolutely identical. I just turned it, you turn it in a way that it keeps the lines making it look awesome. Then what we're going to do is that you're going to make a band that is a certain dimension, and you're going to attach it to the base of your sweater just like at the bottom in order to make it go all the way around. Once we get this attached together, then we're going to concentrate on making the sleeves that you see up here, and ultimately this is a really amazing looking project. So without further ado, I'm going to get you started on the actual making of a panel. You have to make 2 identical, and then once you get that done, just do your second one, and then we're going to come back and do the banding, and then we're going to start doing the rest of it. So let's do that now. So let's get started. Create an extra long tail, and you're going to use that later down the road. So just make sure it's extra long, more than you normally would, and you're going to use that to sew with later. Just leave it there, it's just easier to have it done now. So you're going to create a slip knot. So if you're doing the small to medium, it's 148. If you're doing the large to extra large, it's 160. And if you're doing the 2 to 5 extra large, it is 172 stitches. But for my sake, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do a little panel with you to show you how it is on that diagram, so no matter what size you're doing, there you can match that panel exactly because it's in the correct multiples. So just to crochet the size that you want. For myself, I'm going to do multiples of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's one multiple. Let's do another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then once you get to the end, you just add 4. So the multiples that I gave you to start in the chain counts, those are correct with the multiples already worked in. So let's work our way across the row number 1, which is the same for all of our sizes. Let's continue. So we're gonna go 6 chain from the hook, and we're gonna create those gapping spaces right off the bat. So just right back from the hook itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And get the back hump of that 6 one away, and I want you to double crochet. Then I want you to chain 1 and skip the next chain and double crochet in the one after that. Then chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet after that. So here's the secret. All of these boxes are made up in groups of 3. So you see 1, 2, and 3. So this one plus 6 more gives you the 7 double crochets that you need that separate those boxes from each other. So let's just count the first one. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, and 7. And once you have your 7th in, you're going to create another grouping of 3 of these boxes. So chain 1 to start, skip the next one, double crochet in the one after that. Chain 1, skip the next one, double crochet after that. Okay, chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet after that. And you're gonna keep on going down your chain and doing that same configuration. So you'll do including this one, you'll have your 7 double crochets that separate them, and then you'll be back to these 3 boxes again that you have to create. Once you get to the edge, as long as your counts are right, the final 7 in a row will each be 1 double crochet. That includes that last one we just did. So we technically have 2 here, and 3, 4, 5, 6, and look at that, I'm ending on the right stitch. So 7 in a row completes row number 1. So if you're doing it right, the very first we had our 3 boxes that you see. You have your 7s, you'll have your 3s, then you'll have 7s and 3s and 7s and 3s, and if your count's right, the last 7 will each be a double crochet. Let's move on to row number 2, which is our repeat pattern. Rows number 2 through 7 is the repeat throughout the duration of this particular project. So turning our work, let's go for row number 2. So you'll come back to this part of the video if you need it in the future. So what we're going to do is that we're going to establish ourselves to create a first gap space. To do that, like one of the boxes by itself, we're gonna chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, that is your double crochet. Your 4th is your chain 1 space. You skip the next one and go to the second one over and double crochet, and there's your one box that sits by itself right on the very edge. Now that one plus 6 more of its buddies are each going to be a double crochet. So this is establishing the angle of what those boxes will appear. And once you have your 7, but your look, so we technically have 5 done now, so you can see that we have to go into this chain 1 space. So there's number 6, and then go into the top of the next double crochet, there's 7. So you can see that we just covered in what would have been a box if you would have left it there. Now we're gonna start our 3 boxes. So chain 1, skip 1, which is the chain 1 space. You're gonna go right into the double crochet. Then chain 1, skip 1, and then you happen to be in the next double crochet. And then finally you chain 1, you skip 1 and go to the second one over, and this is just establishing now which sides the boxes are starting to move on. So they're moving on this angle that you see. So this one plus 6 more gives you a total of 7 of double crochets in a row. You don't hear me counting because I technically don't need to count if you are just continuing to follow the same idea going across. So we know that when we go across you'll have 5, and you're gonna have to fill in the first box with the double crochet and then just fill in the frame of that box, okay, which is the next double crochet, and then you start doing that, and you're gonna do that all the way across, and then eventually you'll hit the end like it is here. So we chain 1 at the very end. You're gonna go into the next double crochet, so you're skipping over that chain 1 space, chain 1, and you're going to go in, skip 1 chain and go to the second one over to keep that looking flat. And that was row number 2. So let's turn our work and do row number 3. So whenever we turn our work, you see how the angle was going up like this? Well, when you turn your work, the angle's in the other direction, so just be very conscious of that. I think the mistake that you see in the photograph is that maybe the person wasn't thinking about what side the boxes were on because, you know, it got distracted. So we're now gonna look at it and we can see that it's going up on an angle. So we know that there should only be 1 box left if you continue that angling. So chain up 4, which is your double crochet, chain 1, and go right into the first double crochet. So you're skipping the chain 1 space, and there you've just satisfied having 1 box by itself. So you have 3, 2, 1. So coming into the next chain 1 space, just like that, and then coming into the next double crochet, and we technically have 3 in a row. You again are looking for 7, but here's what I'm gonna tell you. You can not have to count yourself if you can see where you need to start the next box, and the next box is about to start. So these are the 3 just prior to these 3, okay, 3 double crochets. So you're gonna fill in the first one, chain 1, skip the next one, and then double crochet in the next double crochet, and there is your first box. Chain 1, you're gonna come into the next double crochet, and then chain 1, and then come into the next double crochet, and there is your 3 boxes continuing up on the angle. Then what you're going to do is just fill in this box, so go right into the space, put in double crochet, and then keep doing till you get your 7 in a row done. Keep an eye on the boxes. So as you're moving across, the boxes will each start appearing, and you can look at where you need to go. When you get to the very end, which I'm about to, you're going to notice that we have 1 box by itself. So that means that when we get to this side there should be 2 boxes this time. So this is the second one before this one. So chain 1, skip that second one, double crochet in the final double crochet, chain 1, and then skip the first chain and go to the second and double crochet in, and there is your 2 boxes for row number 3. Turning your work, going to row number 4. So now the angle is in the other direction because you keep turning. Do you see that? So now we're gonna just comply with that. So we see that we got 1 and 2, so this time it should be 3. So chain up 4 and double crochet in the first double crochet because you're skipping that space. Chain 1, skip the next space and double crochet into the next double crochet. And because we need to keep on growing until we get our 3 across, chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet into the next one after that. And you can see that you just now have your 3 empty boxes in a row. So this one plus 6 more gives you a total of 7. So you're just gonna keep looking to what you can do in order to get your 7. So when you're going in this direction, you just look at what boxes need to be filled in order to keep that angle going. So you're gonna have to fill in the first box and with its double crochet partner. So you filled that in, and now we still have to create 3 in a row. So we chain 1, go into the next double crochet, chain 1, fill in the next double crochet, and because we want to continue one more time, skip the next double crochet and go to the second one over for that, and you can see that it just went up on an angle. And then we just continue to double crochet ourselves to the edge. You will notice that there's a box that's sitting by itself on the very edge here on this row. Okay, so you're gonna fill in the space, and then you're going to go into the chain work itself for the final double crochet as you work across. And I gotta just untangle this for a second. So finish this off and just double crochet and then turn your work, and let's move up to the next row. So that was number 4. So now let's go for number 5. So the angle is coming towards us. If we see it, we're coming towards our hook. So we're gonna keep maintaining that. So there's nothing to fill in here because we're still working on an angle. So you're just gonna chain 3 this time because there's nothing to fill in. And you keep double crocheting until you get close to where you see the first sets of boxes. Just like that. Then chain 1, skip the next one and double crochet in the next one after that. Okay, so now you just technically move the box forward, chain 1, go into the next double crochet with the double crochet, chain 1, go into the next double crochet, and we've just satisfied to get our 3 boxes in a row. Now what we want to do is fill in the next box, go right into the space, and keep on going till you get your 7 in a row. And you're gonna keep doing that all the way across, just like I showed you. So I'm looking for when the next empty boxes start appearing again, which is right here. And I'm looking towards the second one that's right before it to make sure I skip it. So chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the one just before the empty boxes, chain 1, go into the next double crochet, okay, chain 1 and go into the next double crochet, and therefore you have your 3 boxes. But look, you have more to finish on the end of this. So you're gonna go right into the space, and then you're gonna go right into the actual chain work to finish off. You can see that you've just continued to move forward on an angle. It's turning our work, and let's continue up. So this time what we have is that we can see that the angle is now moving in this direction. So it's going up this way, and we want to be conscientious of that. So we're gonna chain up 3, it's your first double crochet, and now we're gonna fill in the spaces. So we're gonna fill in the first double crochets, and we know that the angle is going in the direction away from me. So I'm gonna fill in the first box plus its frame, and then I'm gonna start my new boxes. So chain 1, go into the next double crochet, chain 1, next double crochet, and then chain 1, skip 1 double crochet, second one over, and now the boxes have moved over, just like you see there. And then we're gonna continue. So that's considered 1 of 7. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm filling in the first box and its frame, so that's 7. So continuing along, chain 1, go to the next double crochet, chain 1, go into the next double crochet, chain 1, and finally skip 1 and go to the second double crochet over to move it over, and then you're gonna finish off with the final that you have here. Okay, so we have 3 in a row that's at the end in order to finish off this row, which is number 6. So now we're gonna turn and work and do number 7, which is the final of the repeat pattern before you have to just go back to number 2, because number 2 is exactly where you're gonna be after you finish number 7. So let's look at our work. So we have 3 boxes and it's gonna shift over 1, so therefore we're gonna have a gap right in the end. So chain 4, and then come to the second double crochet to move that, to make that gap space happen. Chain 1, double crochet in the next double crochet to keep that gap open, and chain 1 and double crochet in the next double crochet to keep it open, and you got your 3 boxes in a row. So then you're gonna fill in the space. So you're gonna have 7 in a row. So just be conscientious as you're moving across any of these stitches on which side those boxes appear, because you don't need to count if you can see what you're doing. And I would glance once in a while just down your panels to make sure that you are getting the right side of the box. So we know that the boxes are coming towards my needle, so they're coming up or towards my hook, so I want to make sure I'm just paying attention to that. So overall, once I got used to the pattern, once I got onto row number 3, I found myself very confident on just being able to follow these up. So we're gonna do this for a set number of times. This is the last of your repeats that you're gonna have, and then you're going to restart all over then for your second one. But how far do you go? We'll talk about that next, because once you get to a set dimension, then you're just gonna do 2 rows of single crochet before fastening off. Okay, so this is row number 7. So the row number 7 kind of looks very similar to row number 1, but row number 1 it never counts because it's part of your chain work. So number 2 is your next one above, and then you keep on doing it. So what we're going to do is then you need to take a measurement in order to get the right size. So let's talk about that next. So here's the sample I was just working on. So you want to continue to repeat the pattern all the way down, and because you're wearing it like this, you want to set dimension. So for the small to medium size, it's 9.5 inches, which is what you see here on camera, and then the extra large size is 11.5 inches, and then the 2 to 5 extra large, it's 15.5 inches in order to get the width that you need. So you're just going to continue to repeat the pattern. What I strongly recommend is that when you do the second one, just use the first one as your template, and so when you go to do your second one, you want to make sure that it's going to be matching. Just count the number of boxes up on an angle. That's how I did it, and just to make sure that it's the right amount of counting that you have when you do your second sample. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna fast forward in this tutorial, and I'm gonna show you what you need to do, because once you get to the size dimension that you need, you're going to finish off with 2 rows of single crochet, and I'll show you that next. So once you get to the width that you need, the final 2 rows are single crochet. So it's written as 2 different instructions because you have to fill in your spaces that you have. So to do that, you're gonna chain up 1, and it's gonna be 1 single crochet in each one of the stitches, and if it happens to be a chain 1 space, you're gonna fill those chain 1 spaces in very much like it was a double crochet if you were doing it before. So I'm about to hit a double crochet space here, okay, or a chain space. Just fill it in with a single crochet, and then keep on moving across, just filling it in. So single crochet yourself all the way down your panels, and make sure that you do this at the end of each of the panel. Don't fasten off your yarn. Just keep on going and complete these 2 rows. So this is row number 1 of 2. So just single crochet. Make sure you fill in all those spaces right to the end, and don't forget those chain 1 spaces that you have when you have empty boxes, and then make sure that you finish off in the right section. Now you may not have empty boxes on this side of it, it just happens to be this sample. Once you get that far, then just turn it one more time and chain up 1 and do 1 single crochet all the way down, and then once you have that done, I want you to fasten off. Leave an extra long yarn tail because you may use that to sew in your project at the end, so it's better to just leave on a couple feet just to make sure that it's gonna work out for you, and if it's not, then just cut it off later. So just single crochet yourself all the way down, fasten off, and we're gonna move on to making the band next. So we're now gonna work on our bands, and each one of the bands is a set number for all of them. They're all chain 9, and then the difference is that the small to medium is 40 inches, the next size up is 48 inches, and then the next size after that is 64 inches. So obviously the bigger it is, the more that you have to make this band. So we're just gonna crochet along. We're going to go into the back loops of each one of these to give the ribbing effect, and let me show you how to do that. And then once you're done with that, you can just either just join it with a slip stitch like I did, or you can sew it, and therefore you have a nice circle that you have, and we're gonna be attaching this to the bottom of the top when we're ready. So let's show you how to do this one. So the band is a repeat pattern, so you're just gonna start off with a slip knot to begin. I always leave an extra long tail, especially with clothing, that you can hide it in better, and you're gonna chain a total of 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Second chain from the hook, get the back hump of the next stitch or of the next chain, and just single crochet yourself across. So if you chain 9 and you went second chain from the hook, there's a total of only 8 stitches that go across the band. And get right into the last one. So what I like to do is that I have to go into the back loop. So when you're looking at it from this position, if you're new to crochet, there's 2 strands. The first strand closest to you is the front loop and the furthest one is the back loop. So what I like to do is that before I physically turn my work, so I was crocheting along, you chain 1 first, and I like to just dive into the first back loop. See, I just dive right into it and then I grab it and then I turn. Just as easier for me, I don't know why. So I'm just gonna single crochet myself in the back loop. This is what's creating the ribbing effects that you see within the project. And you're gonna go right to the end. So there's gonna be a total of 8 stitches. And you just keep on going back and forth till you get to the inches that you need. So I'm at the end, so I'm chaining 1 and I just pick up and I dive right into the back one first, then I turn it. I find it's just easier to see. And you just single crochet in the back loops going all the way back across. So what I want you to do is just go back and forth and then fasten off and then attach your band so that you have a continuous attached band, and then we're gonna move along in the project and start doing some attaching in order to make it work. So just chain 1, back loop, turn, and keep on going. So please do that all the way for the amount of inches that you need for your band. So looking at the diagram, what we have here is that we have the direction of crocheting. So we started off and then we made our way this way, and then this one is in the other direction. So when you actually have these laid out, the single crochet that you finish with should be directly down in the center of your top, just like you have here. So what we're going to do then is that we need to measure out where our sleeves are, and the sleeves are going to be very strategic when we put things together. So you see it's either 16.5, 17.75, or 19, and it's showing you this is what that dimension is. So you're gonna have this on both sides of this. So I've just got this laid out. I haven't put it together in the middle yet, but what I'm gonna do is just mark where my armholes are gonna be. So I'm now gonna put in my arm sleeves. So this is where you can actually compromise yourself a little bit if you want to change out the dimensions. So you can either be 11, 12, or 13 inches up from the base like so, but if you would like more arm space, then you just don't go as high. So what I'm gonna just do is that whatever I do on one side, I'm gonna do to the other. So I'm gonna say this is going to be, I'm just gonna say 10 inches. You know, you can actually improvise this if you can figure out what to do. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through both of the sides of the panel. So this has been folded in half and it's at the top of the panel, and I am going to just put in a stitch marker, and this will hold the two together. So I know this is where I am going to stop when I go to sew up the sides. So whatever you do to one side, you should do it to the other side. So let's just bring this over, and we agreed that I just happen to do mine 10. You can do your, or sorry, mine's 11 here. So I'm just gonna do the same to the other side. Now what you can see is that because these are equal, see how that I've secured it in the middle one of the grouping of 3. So when I go to this side, I'm gonna just move to the middle one of the grouping of 3 on this side because they're both equal. And I'm just going to put in a stitch marker to hold those two into position. So now I'm gonna also now mark the center seam. So let's just peel these back first. So this will be the back of the panels that you see. So they're not equal in height. So what you want to do is that you want to measure up a certain amount of inches. So keep it nice and even at the bottom here. And in this case it's either going to be 15, 16, or 17 inches up. In my case I'm doing the smallest size, so I'm going to say it's 15 inches. So it's right there. And what I'm going to do is take my both panels right at that same spot. You can always adjust a little bit later before you start sewing, and I want to put a stitch marker there. So from that position all the way down to the base, I'm going to sew on the back. And we're just going to attach this there. Now what we have is that the front panel is a smaller distance. It's either 6, 7, or 8. I'm doing the smallest size, so I'm going to just measure up, and in this case it'll be 6 inches from the base. So right there. And then you just go across. Make sure that it stays even. And so now I've just marked my arm sleeves, I've marked my center point, and what I'm going to do then is that I'm going to start sewing some stuff together in order to keep it nice and balanced at this point. So we're gonna do that next. So what I want to do is that I want to peel back the front section here so I can see just the back seam on the inside of this. Okay, so I can just only see the inside, and I like to always seam up from right to left going across, and I'm just double checking. So what I want to do is that I want to grab a strand that matches one of the colors, or it's pretty close to it, and I want to do a whip stitch on the inside of the top. So just cut the strand, and what I like to do is that I just start off with a slip knot on the one side. I don't close it, and I'm going to use a darning needle for the other side of the strand in order to go and whip stitch myself down there. Now whip stitching is just a fancy name. Once you see it done, it's pretty easy. So what you want to do is that you don't want to go into both of the stitches that exist on a row. So you just want to stay to the closest, so it'll be the front loop that you see on this one. Okay, so only one strand. So let me zoom in and show you that. So I'm only coming into the one strand on this side and then matching it to the other side to the strand that's on the inside of it. So don't go through both. This is called an invisible join. And you're gonna pull this through, and when you get to that slip knot, I want you to insert the needle through the slip knot. And what that will do is it will lock it into position, and then you can take out that stitch marker so it's easier for you to see. And you're just gonna keep it all nice and organized and pull it tight, and the slip knot will lock onto itself. So what you're going to do is just move it down so you just get the next strand, just one on the inside, and then just the outside of this one. Do you see that? And I want you to go right up over top of this starting strand that you have, so it gets stuck into position, and pull it tight. This is cotton, so you can pull it tight. So move down to the next one. Now if you have to jimmy it up a little bit, sometimes that you can be off by a stitch or two by the time you get all the way down. So just keep an eye on your edge on the other side down here to make sure that it's gonna stay nice and even. So just coming to the one side. And do that all the way down. So what I'll do is I'll meet you at the end of this line. So now at the very end, and all I'm just gonna do is just weave it through and just tie, make it sure that it locks onto each other with a little mini knot that you'll never see. And then to really technically get rid of it, you just want to stay on the inside of the yarn, or sorry, inside of the top, and just weave it in and out 3 times. So 1, just don't warp it in any way. So 2. Ironically and shockingly, actually, I had the right stitch count all the way down, so it's like amazing. I had a magic ruler today, folks. So I'm just gonna go in and out 3 times. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna turn this over, and so we have this. So remember that we peeled the front back when we did it. So what I want to do is I want to flip this sweater, or top, I keep calling it a sweater. I want to flip it over backwards. So now the front is facing down. See, look at the nice seam that we just did. And now I'm gonna peel it back, and now we're going to do the middle section. Now I left on extra long tails just so I had the same color. So what I want to do is that I want to sew these 2 edges right to this one here. This is the front, and I'm gonna use the same yarn strand that I started off in the very beginning. So I showed you already how to do this, so just fasten this together now, and I'll see you at the end of that. So now turning it back over, this is what you would see if a woman was wearing it. You can see the beautiful seam line because we've done it from the back side. So what I want to do is that I want to turn this inside out. So we've already got our sides marked already for where we need to go up from the base all the way to complete the sides and leave open the sides for the arms. So what I want to do is turn this inside out so that we can access the back, or sorry, the sides of the inside in order to do the side seams. So while doing that, I just lost my one seam on the one side. So what I'm gonna do is just remeasure, and then I'm going to sew up the side from the base all the way to here and leaving open the arms. And I'm gonna do that now. Use the same technique and then use this almost same color of yarn if you can. If you just pull that from your ball in order to do that. Just for fun, I've lost my one side here, so I'm folding it over equal to where I've measured up from the one side. And I'm just double checking to make sure that these sleeves are gonna stay equal on the other side. So I can see I'm off slightly on the one side, so maybe it was a good thing I actually lost my stitch marker, and then I'm just going to refasten on to where it should be for this particular side. So I'm not going through everything, I'm only going through the one side. And we'll just tie a bow tie this time to make sure that it stays in a position. So now I'm going to sleeve it up. So I'm just going to, this is the inside of the top, and now I'm just gonna start on the very base here and start whip stitching until I get to this mark and leaving this open for the sleeves. So I'm looking at the inside of the top so far. So I've just sewed my two sides together. I left it on the inside out. Now I have my band. If you haven't sewn it together, just sew it together on the one side and just weave in your loose ends. Now keep this join on the side. Okay, so don't have it so it's interrupting. And if you like a certain side to show up as your first side, like if you want it white in the front or white in the back, it's up to you. You'll have different colors, of course. So you're gonna notice that when it's leaving here, it's not as wide as the project, and that's because this band has stretching ability. So just what I would do is that just get your pins, right? And just get your pin and just pin it to where you want it to go. And if you do that, then it'll kind of hold into position. So you're just gonna make sure that you'll still go through everything. And then just come to the one side and stretch. See, I'm doing both sides, just make sure. So I'm just gonna stretch it. Go right into the outside edge and then back into the band. And then I want to stretch the other side. This will help me to be able to keep it even as possible. And then what I want to do is flip it up. Okay, so you see the back of the band here. So I want to attach the back. And there you go. So what I want to do is that I want to follow the lines, and now you're going to stretch this as you go. So if you want to put in some more pins to be able to find it, you can do that, and then you're just gonna sew into this, and because of the stretchability of the band, it'll pull it in nicely for you automatically. So what I would do is start on the edge that has the sewing on it and just work your way around and turn it over and do the other side, and your bottom band is done. And again, just whip stitch it all the way around and stay and make sure that you're looking at the inside of the top at this point. So please do that, and I'll see you at the end of that. So my bottom band is now attached, and now I'm going to move it so that it's facing the right way as if you were wearing it. So some people may decide to opt out and not do any sleeving at all. It's not a very big sleeve, it's just more of a finishing look when it's done. And you can see the bottom band looks great. I'm really quite happy with it so far. And I don't mind the color transition because it does go with the whole thing. So what we want to do is we want to do the same thing with both sides of the sleeves. Because we have folded over, you can see all of the stitch work that's available to you. So let's review on how to do the sleeve. So let's begin to do the sleeve. So I'm looking at the right side as if you were going to wear it. So we're going to just grab some more yarn from the ball, and you can probably almost choose your colors from the ball if you wish, if you have that much left over. So what you're just going to do is attach by the bottom of the armpit area, and you want to work your way in around. So this attach with a slip stitch, chain 1, and you're going to single crochet in each of the stitches going all the way around. So when you hit those gapping spaces, remember that that is also a single crochet, and you're just going to keep on going. Now because I had you go into the back hump of the chain when you started, you have these perfect stitches that you'll see all the way around. So what I want you to do is that I want you to just pay attention to where the boxes are open so that you don't accidentally stick your stitches where they shouldn't be. So you're just gonna single crochet yourself all the way around for round number 1, and then I will see you back here in just a moment. So I'm coming up around number 1. I'm just attaching for the very first time, getting all my single crochets established. So I'm gonna have you do rounds number 2 and 3 on your own, and then that's it. You're just gonna fasten off, weave it in your ends, and then I want you to move to the other sleeve and complete it just as you see. So there's only 3 rounds. If you want longer sleeves, of course you can add more rounds, but just keep an eye on your yarn ball to make sure that you do have enough yarn if you would like to go in that direction. It's nice to always have choice. So I'm just coming in the last one before I'm securing to the first one, and I want to slip stitch it, chain 1, and then just start again, single crochet around, and I want to do this again for one more round after this so that you have a total of 3 rounds of single crochet. Please do that now. I'm gonna finish off this one on my own, and then I'll do the other one, and then I'll be right back with the finalization of this video. So it's actually pretty simple, just generally just a little bit of work in order to assemble. So here is my final top. I got my sleeves. I made sure that the colors were the same on the sleeves just to have some balance to it. Of course you can be more creative if you wish. Of course the front down is more down than the others. If you'd like to do it up a little more just in case you don't want to be so flashy, you can do that. And you can turn it over to the back and see the back side. I'm actually really proud of myself with the stitching, I have to tell you. It actually looks really good all the way down, and the pattern does a great job on its own. So that's it for now. That's it. This is the Summer Breeze top. I'm gonna try it on a mannequin next, see how it goes, and then put it up in my studio and enjoy and display it for all to see. So we'll see you again real soon. It's Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Bye bye.